I still remember that night like it got burned into my brain, the kind of memory that don't fade even when you try to drown it out. Compton, summer of '93. The air thick with heat and gun smoke, like the city was sweating and bleeding at the same time. I was riding in Trey's bucket, a beat-up '86 Cutlass with bullet holes in the side doors, laughing, smoking, music blasting through some blown-out speakers. We was just two young fools who thought we owned the block. Me, Miguel Ghost Alvarez, and my brother from another mother, Trey Carter. We'd known each other since we was like 7. Used to play ball on Caldwell, trade basketball cards, sneak into each other's kitchens when our moms worked doubles. We ain't have much, but we had each other. Back then, it felt like enough. But the thing about Compton is, time got a way of changing folks, even the ones you swear will never change. That night, we was cruising down Wilmington, hitting corners, just posting up near Greenleaf, watching the girls walk by, laughing at nothing. Trey always had that wild look in his eye, the kinda energy that made people follow him, even when they knew he was trouble. He turned to me, cigarette hanging off his lip. "Ghost," he said, "you ever think we meant for more than this?" I laughed. "More than what, bro?" "This. The block. The same corners. The same broke dreams. I can't be slinging dime bags my whole life, man. I want more. I want respect." That was Trey, always reaching for something just out of reach. Me. I was fine keeping my head low, stacking small money, staying alive. I'd seen what happened to the ones who chased respect out here. Most of them got buried under it. But I ain't say that. Instead, I nodded, blowing smoke into the night. "Yeah, man. One day." He smiled like he didn't believe me. "One day don't come unless you make it, Ghost. Remember that." By the time the next week rolled around, everything started changing. We used to run with a small set, mostly local homies from Rosecrans, calling ourselves East Side Hustlers. Nothing big, just some nickel and dime stuff. But then this older dude named Big Leon came around. Ex-blood, heavy reputation, gold teeth, diamond chain that caught the sun like it was laughing at us. He started supplying Trey. Bigger product, bigger cut. And that meant bigger problems. I wasn't feeling it from the start. Leon was the kind of cat who smiled with his mouth but not his eyes. You could see the hunger behind his calm, the kind of hunger that eats people alive. But Trey saw opportunity. He started moving weight fast. Had new clothes, new kicks, new girls. I couldn't even hate, that was my dog. But I saw him change. The laughter got sharper, the eyes colder. The streets got louder around him, whispering his name. And then came the split. See, my uncle, Ramon, was from the Los Marranos, a Latino crew that had a deep presence on our side of Compton. I wasn't officially jumped in, but they always looked out for me cause of family. Ramon was like, "Mijo, you got a good head. Don't follow that Carter boy too far. He's too loud. Loud boys don't grow old out here." I brushed it off back then. But he was right. It started small. Trey's new supplier, Big Leon, started beefing with the Marranos over territory. Lines got drawn that nobody wanted to cross, but Trey didn't care. He wanted the corner on Caldwell and Maple. Said it was his block now. I told him, "Bro, that's Marrano's turf. You know my people be there." He just looked at me, hard, jaw tight. "You with me or not, Ghost?" That question hung in the air like gunpowder. The first shots came 2 nights later. I was sitting on the porch at my mom's, drinking a 40, when I heard the pop-pop-pop down the street. My stomach dropped. I knew that sound. Not fireworks, not backfires. That was hate talking. Ran toward the noise, saw cars peeling off. The streetlights flickering. And then I saw the body. Lil Spooky, a 15-year-old kid who used to look up to Trey like a big brother, laying in the gutter with his face half gone. A bullet through the cheek. He was wearing Trey's old Raiders hoodie. I remember dropping to my knees, yelling his name, blood sticking to my hands. People came out screaming, crying, scattering. Somebody whispered, that was the Marranos. They hit back. And just like that, the streets chose for us. Trey showed up an hour later, face hard, eyes on fire. "Ghost, they hit my lil man," he said, voice trembling. "We can't let that slide." I tried to reason with him. Bro, Spooky was just a kid. This can make it worse. He slammed his fist on the hood of the car. They killed family. Ghost. You think I'm gonna sit here and talk peace? And I saw it then, the point of no return. Trey wasn't thinking. He was feeling. Rage had him by the throat. And me. I was torn in two. My blood ran with the Moranos. My heart ran with Trey. That night, Trey gathered his crew, Dre, Lil Man, and Tone. All hungry, wild boys looking to prove something. We drove to an alley behind Wilmington, masks on, hoods up. I remember the feel of the metal in my hands, cold, heavy, alive. Trey's voice was calm now. Too calm. We hit their corner. Scare 'em. No mercy. They cross us, we make 'em pay. I hesitated. Trey, my cousin might be out there. He looked at me like he ain't even hear me. You either in this car or you not. I looked out the window, the orange streetlights blinking, the night hummin' low, and I made the worst decision of my life. I'm in. We rolled slow through Caldwell, the air thick with tension. I could see shadows moving by the corner store, a group of my uncle's boys hanging out, laughing, passing bottles. They didn't even know death was coming. Trey nodded once. Guns came up. Then, chaos. Flashes lit up the street. Glass shattered. Screams echoed. I saw one body drop, then another. The car sped off, tires squealing. My ears rang. My chest felt hollow. I looked back, saw blood spilling into the gutter, running toward the drain. One of the bodies moved slightly. I leaned forward, squinting. It was Carlos, my cousin. My mom's sister's son. He was reaching for help, eyes wide open, blood pouring out of his side. I screamed, "Stop the car," but Trey hit the gas harder. "Ghost, don't you dare look back." But I did. I looked back until he disappeared into the dark. The next morning, the whole neighborhood was silent. Word spread fast. The East Side hustlers hit the Moranos' block, and a known member was dead. Retaliation was inevitable. I couldn't go home. Cops was rolling through, questioning everybody. My mom's house was a target now. Ramon came looking for me, too, I heard. Said he wanted blood for his nephew. That's when I realized I was done. I couldn't walk both sides anymore. The streets had split me in half. One part family, one part loyalty. And loyalty was bleeding. I laid low at this rundown spot near Compton Creek, a trap house some of Trey's boys used to crash in. The smell of stale weed, gun oil, and broken dreams. I sat there for hours, trying to clean the blood off my hands that wasn't even mine. Trey came by late, eyes red from crying or smoking, maybe both. He dropped a duffel bag of money on the table. "Ghost, we did what we had to," he said. I stared at him, jaw tight. "You shot my cousin." He froze. "What'd you say?" "My cousin, fool. Carlos. That was him." He looked away, jaw twitching. "I ain't no, man. It was dark. They was shooting too." I stood up, chest heavy. "That don't change what you did." He snapped. "You think I wanted that? You think I wanted any of this? They killed Spooky, Ghost. I did what had to be done." I wanted to hit him. I wanted to scream. But all I did was stare at the boy I used to hoop with, the one who shared my last slice of pizza, the one who'd become a stranger in his own skin. "Trey," I said quietly, "you ain't the same." He looked at me for a long time, then shook his head. "Neither are you." Days turned to weeks. Retaliations went back and forth. Drive-bys, ambushes, houses burned. Compton felt like a war zone. Sirens became lullabies. Funerals became social events. I stopped sleeping. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Carlos rear chin out. I saw Trey's cold stare. And then came the call that changed everything. It was a late August night. I was crashing at my aunt's, trying to keep my head down. The phone rang. A voice on the other end whispered, "They got Trey." I froze. "What do you mean they got him?" "He got jumped outside the liquor store on Rosecrans. They say Moranos caught him slip-in. He in the hospital. Might not make it." For a second, I ain't know how to feel. Hate and hurt twisted together inside me like barbed wire. Trey had killed my cousin, but he was still my brother. I grabbed my jacket and ran. The hospital smelled like bleach and sorrow. I found his room. He was laid up, tubes in his arms, face swollen, chest wrapped. When he saw me, he smiled weakly. "Damn, Ghost. You still alive?" "Barely," I muttered, sitting beside him. We sat in silence, the kind that weighs more than words. Finally, he said, "They tried to end me, bro. 3 of them. Jumped out of nowhere. I took 2 down before they got me good." I clenched my fists. "Who did it?" He hesitated, eyes flicking to me.
"Ramon Sen,
My stomach dropped. "You sure?" He nodded. "He wants you next." I leaned back, breath catching. My own blood, my uncle, wanted me dead. That night, I walked out of that hospital feeling like a ghost for real. My name didn't belong nowhere anymore. The Moranos called me a traitor. The hustlers called me family. But I didn't even know what that word meant anymore. As I walked down the dark street, sirens echoing somewhere far away, I realized there was no win-in in this life. The streets don't give medals for loyalty, only tombstones. Still, I couldn't let Trey die for what we started. I went home, grabbed my burner, and stared at it under the flickering light. The metal felt heavy again, same as before. But this time, I wasn't sure who it was meant for. The next morning, Ramon found me first. Pulled up in his lowrider, looking tired and mean. He stepped out slow, eyes bloodshot. "Mijo," he said. I didn't want to believe it. "You riding with the fools who killed my son?" I opened my mouth, but no words came out. He nodded, tears filling his eyes. "Then you ain't family no more." He turned to leave. "Uncle," I said softly. "It wasn't supposed to happen that way." He paused. The streets don't care what's supposed to happen. They only care what does. He walked off, and I swear I felt something inside me break. That night, Trey called me from the hospital phone, voice low and shaky. "Ghost." I heard Ramon talking. "He coming for me next." "What you want me to do?" "Finish it." Silence. Just that one word, finish, hanging in the air like poison. I stared out my window, watching the streetlights blink over the cracked pavement. My reflection looked like someone I didn't recognize. "All right," I said finally. "I'll handle it." But as I hung up that phone, something in my gut told me this was a road I couldn't come back from. Because in Compton, loyalty ain't about who you love, it's about who you're willing to bury. And before that summer was over, I'd learned just how deep that grave could go. They say once you pick up that gun for somebody, you don't just carry the metal, you carry their soul too. Every bullet you let fly got a piece of your heart in it. I didn't understand that before, but after Trey's call, I did. 3 days after I told him I'd handle it, I was still sitting in my mom's old garage, chain-smoking cigarettes, staring at the same pistol like it had answers. It didn't. It just kept whispering. The block outside was loud as always, dogs barking, kids riding bikes, some old dude selling ice cream out a pushcart like the world wasn't falling apart one corner over. The smell of smoke still hung in the air from the last drive-by near Rosecrans. I swear you could taste the tension out here. I ain't talked to my Uncle Ramon since that day he disowned me. Word on the street was he'd been looking for Trey ever since the hospital. Sent out hitters from Linwood and Watts to finish what they started. Trey was laying low, hiding out at some girl's apartment on Palmer Street, barely brayer thin from that stab wound. He called me every night. "Ghost, you good?" "I'm good," I'd say. But I wasn't. Truth was, I didn't even know which side I was on no more. I decided to roll out and check on him one night. The air was thick with humidity, sweat rolling down my neck as I walked through alleys that used to feel like home but now felt like trapdoors. Every shadow looked like a setup. Every car that slowed down made my heart jump. When I finally got to the apartment, Trey was sitting in the dark with a bottle in his lap. His face was pale, and his bandages had spots of blood on them. "You look like hell, bro," I said. He chuckled weakly. "Hell look better than I do right now." I sat down across from him. The room smelled like sweat, liquor, and medicine. The girl, Keisha, was gone for the night. Probably scared. "Trey, this ain't it, man," I said. We losin' too much. Spooky gone. Carlos gone. You damn near gone. When we stop. He looked at me, eyes low. When they stop coming for us. They ain't stoppin', I said. This don't end unless somebody walks away. He leaned forward, jaw tight. You talking about walking away? After everything? You think they can let us walk? I didn't answer. That's when he said it. That line that stuck with me forever. Ghost, loyalty don't bleed forever. You either stay down, or you bleed out. He handed me a photo, me and him, age 12, arms around each other, big smiles. Don't forget who you riding for, he said. I tucked the photo in my jacket and nodded, but inside I felt like I was drowning. Next night, I hit up Trey and Lil Man, two of Trey's boys still moving around while he healed. We met behind this old liquor store where the neon sign buzzed like static. Trey was amped up, high off adrenaline or coke, couldn't tell. Word is Ramon got a stash spot on Santa Fe. We hit it, we heard him.
Lil Man nodded.
He won't expect it from Ghost. Family don't think family can cross him. I stared at both of them, the words hit tin hard. You talking about robbing my uncle? Dre shrugged. Ain't family no more, right? They laughed. I didn't. That night, I went home and sat on my bed with my mom's rosary in one hand and my peace in the other. I hadn't prayed in years, but I tried. God, I whispered, if you're listening, just tell me who I'm supposed to be loyal to. All I heard was sirens outside and some kid crying down the block. Maybe that was my answer. We hit Ramon's stash 2 nights later. The plan was simple. In and out, take the money, burn the rest. But plans don't mean shit in Compton. It was me, Dre, and Lil Man. We pulled up around midnight, masks on, hearts pounding. The stash house sat at the corner of a quiet block, small, pale yellow spot with bars on every window. Ramon used to host barbecues there when I was a kid. The memories made my stomach twist. Dre kicked the door in. The noise cracked through the night like thunder. We stormed inside, guns up. 2 dudes were sitting at a table counting money, Ramon soldiers. They froze. One reached for his piece. Too slow. Lil Man dropped him. The sound of gunfire bounced off the walls, shaking my soul. I pointed my gun at the other dude. Couldn't have been older than 20. His hand shook. Don't shoot, man. I just watched the door. For a second, I saw my cousin Carlos in his face. I lowered the gun. Get outta here. He ran. Dre was already grabbing stacks of cash, laughing like a maniac. We eating tonight, Ghost. But I couldn't move. My hands felt numb. I looked around the house. The same tile floor I used to crawl on when I was little. The same back door Ramon used to yell at us not to slam. And then I saw the photo on the fridge. Me, my mom, and Ramon, all smiling at some cookout. My chest burned. Let's go. Dre shouted. I snapped out of it, grabbed the duffel, and followed him out. As we hit the car, lights flashed from the corner. A van pulled up fast, tinted windows, no plates. Shit. Go. Bullets ripped through the air. We dove behind the car, glass shattering, sparks flying. I returned fire, heart slamming. The sound was deafening. Dre hit the gas and we peeled out, the back window blown out completely. By the time we made it to the bridge near Compton Creek, Lil Man wasn't brae thin. A bullet caught him in the neck. Blood everywhere. Dre screamed, slamming the steering wheel. I sat there frozen, hands covered in red again. Different blood, same story. We buried Lil Man in an empty lot behind the tracks. No priest, no words, just silence and a couple tears. Dre swore vengeance. I swore nothing. I was tired of swearing. When I got back to the apartment, Trey was up, wincing as he moved from the bed. You did it? He asked. Yeah, I said quietly. He nodded. Good. Now he knows not to touch us. I looked at him, this man I used to call brother, and all I saw was a ghost of who he used to be. You know Lil Man died tonight. I asked. His jaw clenched, but his eyes stayed cold. That's war. Va. I repeated. You calling this war? We killin' kids, Trey. We killin' our own. He snapped. Ain't no own out here no more, Ghost. Either you ride or you die. That's when I realized he'd already chosen death. He just hadn't stopped breathing yet. Days went by. Ramon's retaliation came quick. Word spread that Dre got caught slip-pin outside a strip club. Shot 3 times in the back. Dead before he hit the ground. I found out from a payphone call. The voice said, "One by one, mijo. You next." Then hung up. I didn't even flinch. I was past fear. I drove to the hospital again. Trey was gone, left without telling nobody. Keisha said he packed up and disappeared. Nobody'd seen him since. So now it was just me. A few nights later, I stopped by my mom's house to check in. She looked older, like the war aged her too. Her eyes stayed on the TV, not even looking at me. "Mijo," she said softly. I heard things. Bad things. I sat down, couldn't look her in the face. "Your cousin's gone. Your uncle's losing his mind. You and that Carter boy. I warned you." "I know," I whispered. She grabbed my hand. "Mijo, you still got a choice. You can leave. You can start over." I wanted to believe that. But every time I closed my eyes, I saw faces. Spooky, Carlos, Lil Man, Dre. Every one of them pulling me deeper. "I'll try," I said, though we both knew it was a lie. That same night, I went to the park off Long Beach Boulevard, the spot where me and Trey used to meet when we was kids. The swings creaked in the wind, graffiti on every bench. I sat there smoking, thinking maybe if I stayed long enough, he'd show. And he did. He came walking out the shadows, hoodie up, bandages peeking through his shirt. Same look in his eyes, wild and tired all at once. "Thought you was gone," I said. "Can't leave my city," he said, smirking. "Too much unfinished business." He sat beside me, both of us staring at the empty playground. "Dre's dead," I said. He nodded. "I know. I heard." We sat quiet, the air between us heavy. Finally, I said, "Trey, this ain't loyalty no more. This is suicide." He turned to me, smiling sad. "You still don't get it, Ghost. We born in this. We can't just stop being who we are." "I ain't born to die for colors," I said. He laughed low. "You already died, bro. You just ain't laid down yet." We walked for a while after that, not saying much. When we reached the corner store, 2 cars rolled up slow. I recognized the front one immediately, my uncle's black Impala. "Trey," I whispered, "that's them." He didn't move, just gripped his gun. "Then it's time."
No, Isa.
"Not here. Not like this." But he stepped into the street. The Impala doors swung open. Ramon stepped out with 3 soldiers. His eyes locked on me, then Trey. "So," he said, voice calm but deadly, "the ghost finally shows himself." "Uncle," I started, but he cut me off. "You killed your blood for this boy. You broke our family for him." Trey laughed cold. "Family? Your people shot me up, old man." Ramon raised his gun. "And I'll finish it tonight." I jumped between them, yelling, "No, this ain't the way." They didn't listen. Nobody ever listens when guns start talking. The street exploded in fire. Bullets flying, glass shattering, sparks lighting up the night. I hit the ground, rolled behind a trash can, returning fire blindly. Screams echoed. Tires screeched. When it stopped, smoke filled the air. Bodies lay still. Ramon was down, clutching his chest, blood pouring. Trey was on one knee, bleeding from the shoulder. I crawled to my uncle, grabbed in his hand. "Uncle, hold on." He coughed blood, eyes glassy. "You killed me, mijo."
No, y cría.
I tried to stop it. His hand went limp. I turned to Trey. He was staring at me, pain twisting his face. "You happy now, Ghost?" he whispered. "We free?" I shook my head. "We ain't free, bro. We just empty." Sirens wailed in the distance. I knew the cops would be here any second. Trey tried to stand, staggering. I grabbed his arm. "Come on, we gotta move." He pulled away. "Go, Ghost. I ain't running no more." "Trey." He raised his gun, pointing it at the ground, blood dripping from his fingers. Go! I looked at him one last time, my brother, my curse, then ran into the dark. By the time I made it back to the bridge, dawn was breaking. The sky glowed orange, the city still humming from the chaos. I sat down, legs shaking, and for the first time in years, I cried. I cried for Trey, for Carlos, for everyone buried by a code that never loved us back. The water below shimmered, reflecting the sunrise. I thought maybe, just maybe, this was what peace looked like, quiet, lonely, and full of ghosts. But even as I watched, I knew it wasn't over. Because out here, peace ain't something you find. It's something you pay for. And I hadn't paid enough yet. I didn't sleep for 2 days after that shootout. My mind kept replaying the flashes, the screams, my uncle's eyes when he realized it was me kneeling beside him. Every time I closed mine, I saw blood. I smelled the gunpowder. I heard the sirens. They said the cops found 5 bodies that night. Ramon, 2 of his boys, 1 civilian, and Trey. But I knew that was wrong. Trey wasn't dead. Not yet. Rumor on the block was he disappeared again. Some said he crawled off bleeding. Some said an ambulance picked him up before the cops came. Either way, he was gone. And me. I was invisible now. Ghost, for real. Compton felt different after that night. The city didn't sleep, it mourned. Streets that used to hum with laughter were quiet. Corners where I grew up now felt like crime scenes frozen in memory. The Moranos split without Ramon running things. Half the crew scattered to Linwood, others flipped to other sets. My family wanted nothing to do with me. My mom stopped answering the phone. I'd drive past her house sometimes, see her curtains move, but she wouldn't open the door. I couldn't blame her. I was poison now. I crashed at an old friend's apartment near Alondra. Peanut, a small-time hustler who owed me a favor. His place was a dump, cracked walls, roaches, a mattress on the floor. But it was quiet. He asked me, "You gonna keep hiding forever, ghost?" I told him, "Ain't hiding. Just waiting." For what? For it to end. He laughed. "Homie, the streets don't end. You just run out a road." He wasn't wrong. A week later, I got my answer. I was walking down Wilmington, hoodie up, when a car pulled up slow beside me. Windows tinted. I froze, hand going to my waist. Then the window rolled down. Trey. He looked alive but barely. His face was pale, stitched up. Eyes sunken, like he hadn't slept since the shootout. "Get in," he said. I hesitated, then opened the door. The smell of blood and cigarette smoke hit me hard. We drove in silence for a long time, the city crawling by outside, kids playing ball, old heads drinking on stoops, life pretending not to see death pass by. Finally, I said, "They said you was dead." He smirked. Almost was. "What you doing here, Trey?" He kept his eyes on the road. Finishing it. Finishing what? He looked at me, that same wild fire in his eyes, only dimmer now. Everything. The hustlers, the Moranos, the streets. I'm taking all of it down. I stared at him. "You sound crazy." He laughed low. "Maybe I am. But I ain't dying for a block no more, ghost. I'm taking what's left and getting out." I frowned. "You talking about money?" He nodded. Big Leon still got a stash house full of product. Enough to disappear. I just need one last job. There it was, that same line we always said before everything went bad. One last job. Trey, every last job we ever had buried somebody. He leaned back, eyes narrowing. Then we better not mess this one up. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The idea of running, of actually leaving Compton, sounded like a dream. But dreams don't belong to people like us. Still, part of me wanted it. To wake up somewhere without gunshots, without ghosts. Maybe this was the only way. The next few days we planned it out. Trey was moving slower now, still hurt, but his mind was sharp. Leon got a stash in an auto shop on Alameda, he told me, spreading out a hand-drawn map on the table. Guards rotate every 4 hours. We go in at 3 a.m., quiet, clean, no noise. I nodded. Who else coming? He hesitated. Nobody. Just me and you. 2 men against Leon's crew. He smiled. Ain't nothing new, right? I didn't trust him, not fully, but I owed him something. Maybe it was guilt. Maybe it was the memory of who he used to be. Either way, I said yes. The night of the job, Compton was still and cold. The air smelled like rain and gasoline. We pulled up behind the shop, killin' the lights. My heart was poundin', same rhythm it always did before something went wrong. Trey checked his gun, then looked at me. You ready, Ghost? Never am, I said. We slipped through the back gate. The place was quiet, just the hum of a streetlight buzzin' overhead. Inside, the garage smelled like oil and dust. Stacks of crates lined the walls. Trey pointed. That's it. We started moving fast, filling duffel bags with cash and bricks. Everything was going smooth, too smooth. Then I heard it. A voice from the shadows. You really thought Leon ain't know you'd come. We spun around. Big Leon stepped out, smilin', gold teeth glintin' in the light. Behind him, 3 men with shotguns. Trey froze. Leon shook his head. I raised you better than this, boy. Trey's voice cracked. You set me up. Leon chuckled. You set yourself up, fool. You forgot who fed you. He looked at me next. And you, Ghost. Heard you kill family now. Cold world. I didn't move. My finger twitched on the trigger. Leon took a step closer. You got 2 choices. Drop them bags and walk away, or die right here. Trey whispered, we ain't walking. Then he shot first. Chaos. The room exploded with noise. Bullets tore through metal and glass. Sparks flew. I dove behind a car lift, returnin' fire. Leon's men scattered. Trey hit one, but not before Tarkeen a slug to the arm. I crawled across the floor, grabbed in his jacket. We gotta go. He groaned, bleedin' heavy. Grab the money. I looked at him, pale, sweatin', losing too much blood. Forget the money, bro. He yelled, grab it. So I did. I slung one bag over my shoulder and dragged him toward the back door. Leon's voice echoed behind us. Ain't no running from the streets, boy. We stumbled out into the alley. Rain started falling, slow, steady, like the sky was crying too. We made it to the car, tires screeching as I sped off. Trey was breathin' shallow, blood soaking through his hoodie. He kept mutterin', don't stop, don't stop. I didn't. Not till we hit the 105 freeway, where the lights stretched out like an endless river. We ended up at a motel in Hawthorne, cheap, dirty, anonymous. I patched him up as best I could. He was losing it, eyes fluttering. Trey, you gotta stay with me, I said. He grabbed my wrist, his grip weak. Promise me something. Anything. If I don't make it, you take that money, get out of here. Start over. Don't let this city eat you too. I shook my head. Don't talk like that. Promise me, Ghost. I hesitated, then nodded. I promise. He smiled faintly. That's my brother. He closed his eyes. I sat there all night, watching the rain hit the window, listening to the world outside keep moving. When morning came, he was still alive, barely. I told him I'd get medicine, maybe call a doctor I knew who didn't ask questions. He nodded weakly. Hurry back. I left. I shouldn't have. When I got back 20 minutes later, the door was open. The room was trashed. Trey was gone. All that was left was blood on the sheets and the duffel bag, half empty. My heart dropped. I ran outside, looking around the parking lot. Nothing but silence. Then I saw it, spray painted on the side of the motel wall in red. Loyalty don't bleed forever. I knew what it meant. Trey played me. I drove for hours, searching every corner I could think of. His old spots, Keisha's apartment, even the park where we used to meet. Nothing. It was like he vanished into the air again. By nightfall, I was back where it all started, the bridge over Compton Creek. The city glowed under me, red and orange from streetlights. And that's where he found me. He walked out from the shadows, clean clothes, fresh bandages, duffel over his shoulder. Trey, I said, voice low. You took the money. He smirked. You would have done the same. I saved your life. He nodded. Yeah, you did. That's why I'm giving you a choice. A choice. Walk away, ghost. Forget me. Forget the streets. Just disappear. If you come after me, I'll treat you like anybody else. I stared at him, the boy who used to have my back in every fight, who once shared his last meal with me. This how it ends? I asked. He looked away. Ain't no other way it can. I took a step forward. You used me, Trey. I used what was left, he said quietly. You think I wanted this? You think I like what I became? Nah. But this city don't let you choose what kind of man you be. It makes you one. He turned to walk away. Something in me snapped. I pulled my gun. Trey. He froze. Slowly turned. Don't do that. You owe me the truth, I said. Was any of it real? He sighed. It was. But real don't last long out here. We stood there in the rain, both of us shaking. You gonna shoot me, ghost? He said softly. Go ahead. Ain't nothing left to kill. I couldn't breathe. My finger trembled on the trigger. He took one step closer. You still my brother. But I told you, loyalty don't bleed forever. That's when the lights hit us. Cops, flooding the bridge from both sides. Sirens screaming, tires screeching. Hands where we can see 'em. Trey turned toward them, gun still in his hand. I shouted, don't. But he raised it anyway. The shots came fast. I watched him fall in slow motion, rain splashing off his body as he hit the ground. Blood mixed with the water, running down the cracks in the pavement. I dropped my gun, hands up, but I didn't move toward him. Couldn't. My legs felt numb. They cuffed me, slammed me against the hood. One of them yelled something about possession, robbery, assault, words that didn't mean nothing. All I could see was Trey lying there, eyes open, mouth whispering something I couldn't hear. Then he stopped moving. They held me for 2 nights before letting me go. Lack of evidence, they said. Maybe someone pulled strings. Maybe the city just forgot about us like it always did. When I walked out the station, the air felt different, quieter. I went back to that bridge the next day. They already washed away the blood. The rain took the rest. But when I looked down at the creek, I could still see him. Not the body, but the boy. The one I grew up with. The one who used to dream about getting out. And that's when it hit me. Trey wasn't my enemy. The streets were. They'd been playing us against each other since the start. I took what was left of the money and packed a bag. I didn't know where I was going. Didn't matter. I just needed to breathe somewhere that didn't smell like smoke and sorrow. Before I left, I stopped by my mom's house one last time. She opened the door, tears already falling. Where you going, mijo? She asked. Somewhere quiet, I said. She touched my cheek, eyes full of pain. You still my son? I nodded. Always. She handed me a small photo. Me and Trey, kids again, smiles wide. Don't forget who you were before the streets. I kissed her forehead, tucked the photo in my pocket, and walked away. As I hit the freeway, sun risen over the city, I realized what Trey meant all along. Loyalty don't bleed forever. It just leaves scars that never heal. And some ghosts ain't meant to be saved. I left Compton that morning, but the city didn't leave me. Every mile I drove, I could still feel her breath on my neck, the hum of sirens, the whispers of ghosts. I told myself I was free. But freedom don't mean nothing when you're carrying a grave inside you. The first place I landed was Bakersfield. Small motel on the outskirts, surrounded by oil fields and dead silence. I got a job changing tires at a dusty gas station. Cash only, no questions. At night, I'd sit outside my room, smoke cheap cigarettes, and stare at the horizon like it owed me answers. Sometimes I'd hear Trey's voice, not real, just memory. Him laughing, telling me to chill, to stop worrying. Other nights, I'd see him how he looked that last moment, falling, blood mixing with rain. That image never left. Weeks turned into months. My beard grew out. My eyes got darker. I stopped answering calls. One day, Peanut found me. I don't know how. Maybe word travels even when you don't want it to. He pulled up in a beat-up Cutlass, music thumping, same old grin on his face. "Damn, ghost," he said, step pin out. "You look like you seen a spirit." I laughed, dry and hollow. "I been living with one." He looked around. "So this what freedom look like? Smell like dirt and desperation." I shook my head. "Ain't freedom. Just quiet." He handed me a brown paper bag. Inside was cash, more than I'd seen since the job. "Where'd this come from?" I asked. "Leon," he said, eyes low. "He gone. Word is somebody hit him last month. The whole operation scattered. Streets wide open." I didn't say nothing. "Compton Chanjin, bro," Peanut said. "Ain't no kings left. You could come back, make something out of the ruins." I looked at him, then at the horizon again. "Ain't nothing left for me there." He smirked. "Ain't nothing left for any of us, ghost. That's why we keep going back." He stayed the night. We drank cheap whiskey, listened to old Ice Cube tapes, laughed about things that stopped being funny years ago. Around midnight, he looked at me serious. "You ever think about Trey?" "All the time." "You ever wonder if he planned it, the whole thing?" I nodded slowly. "Every night." He sighed. "He wasn't built for peace, bro. Neither are you." That stuck with me. I didn't want to believe it, but he wasn't wrong. 2 weeks later, I woke up to noise outside, car engines, doors slamming. I peeked through the blinds. 2 black SUVs. Men step pin out. Not cops, too clean, too quiet. I grabbed the duffel from under the bed. The same one from the job. Still half full of money. Still half full of bad luck. Before I could move, someone knocked on the door. "Mr. Alvarez." Voice calm, smooth. Not the streets. Something worse. I didn't answer. "Open up," he said. "We just want to talk." I ran to the back, climbed out the window, landed behind the dumpster. Heart pounding. But they were already there. Tall dude in a grey suit. Sunglasses, slick hair, no smile. "Miguel Alvarez," he said. Or should I say ghost? I froze. He smiled slightly. "Relax. We are not police." "Then who the hell are you?" "Businessman," he said. "And you have something that belongs to us." I looked down at the bag. "You talking about this?" He nodded. "That money was Leon's. Leon was ours." I laughed bitterly. "Figures." "You're gonna give it back," he said, calm like he was ordering food. "And then you're gonna disappear again. For good." "And if I don't?" He smiled. "Then we make sure you do anyway." He stepped closer. I swung first. Fist to jaw. He staggered. His men moved fast. I ran, across the lot, through the dust, jumping a fence into the desert beyond. Bullets cracked behind me. Sand flew up, cut in my face. I ran till I couldn't feel my legs. By the time I stopped, sun was set in. Sky orange and bruised. I dropped to my knees, gasping. The bag lay open, bills spilling into the dirt. That's when I saw it, the photo my mom gave me. Me and Trey, smiling like fools.
I låghet till mig tro att hört.
All this time running from ghosts, and I'd become one. That night, I found an old shack a few miles out, probably used by field workers once. Roof half gone. Walls cracked. I built a small fire, stared at the flames. And for the first time in years, I prayed. Not to be saved, just to be understood. I said, "If there's something left of me worth 7, show me how." No voice answered, just the wind moving through broken wood. Morning came. I walked back to town, bag in hand. I found a payphone, called Peanut. "They came for me," I said. He cursed. "You good?" "For now. But I'm tired, bro." He paused. "What you thinking?" "I'm thinking it's time to end it." He didn't ask what I meant. He already knew. That night, I drove back to Compton. The city looked smaller somehow. Dirtier. Every block carried memories. Every stop sign a ghost. I parked outside Trey's old house. It was boarded up now. Windows smashed. Spray paint covering the door. I sat there for a long time, engine idling, trying to breathe. Then I heard a voice behind me. Didn't think you'd ever come back. Peanut. He got in the passenger seat, hand resting on his knee. You sure about this? He asked. I nodded. They won't stop coming for me. Not till I end it. He looked down. You ain't gotta die for it, ghost. I looked at him. I already did. We drove to Limett Park, to a spot I knew the cartel boys used for meetings. I'd called earlier, told the man in the suit I wanted to make it right. When we pulled up, they were already there. 3 cars. Half a dozen men. The same one from before stepped out. You made a smart choice. I got out, duffel in hand. This everything. Every dollar. He nodded. Good. You can go now. I smiled faintly. Not yet. He frowned. What you mean? I tossed the bag at his feet. You came to collect from a dead man. So go ahead, collect. Before he could speak, I pulled out my gun. Chaos exploded. Bullets flew, glass shattered. I hit 2 before the rest opened fire. Pain tore through my shoulder, my chest. Peanut was screaming my name, returning shots. I kept fearing till the clip clicked empty. Then silence. Smoke hung heavy in the air. Bodies everywhere. Peanut crawled over to me, grabbed in my jacket. Why'd you do that? I smiled weakly. So it ends with me. He shook his head, tears mixing with sweat. You could have left, ghost. You could have. I couldn't, I whispered. Every time I ran, somebody else died. It had to stop. He held me close as sirens started echoing in the distance. You hold on, bro, he said. Don't close your eyes. But I was already slipping. I woke up in a hospital bed. White walls. Machines beeping. My chest burned like fire. A nurse looked at me, startled. You're lucky, she said softly. Another inch and you'd be gone. I turned my head. Peanut sat in the corner, eyes red. They saying you killed 3 men, he said. But the feds ain't pushing it. Guess them suits weren't supposed to be here. I nodded weakly. They dead? Yeah. I exhaled slow. Then it's done. He looked down. What now? I thought for a long time. Maybe I finally get to live. A month later, I was discharged. No family came. No friends. Just Peanut driving me to an old apartment in Long Beach. You sure you want to be alone? He asked. I nodded. Been alone my whole life. He handed me a small envelope. Found this in the wreck. Inside was the photo again, me and Trey. On the back, Peanut had written, "For what it's worth, you kept your promise." I smiled through the ache. Days passed quiet. I spent mornings walking the beach, watching the waves crash, same rhythm as the gunfire I used to hear. Only softer, cleaner. Sometimes I'd see kids riding bikes, laughing, shouting. And I'd wonder if they knew how lucky they were. Other times, I'd think about Trey. What he'd say if he saw me now. Probably call me soft, tell me I should have stayed in the fight. But deep down, I think he'd understand. He always wanted out. He just didn't know how. Maybe I did what he couldn't. One night, I went to the pier. Sky clear, moon bright. I sat there, holding the photo, letting the wind carry the salt to my face. I whispered, I forgive you, Trey. And for the first time in forever, the world felt still. A week later, Peanut called. Slim from the east side got locked. Streets quiet now. Real quiet. Good, I said. He hesitated. You ever think about coming back? Helping the young ones? I thought about it. About the kids growing up on the same blocks we ruined. Maybe, I said. But not yet. That night, I went back to the beach again. Watched the water shimmer, the lights of LA faint in the distance. For years I thought loyalty was about dying for somebody. But now I knew, it's about living with what you did for them. And some debts can't be paid in blood. As the tide came in, I stood up, letting the waves hit my feet. The ocean roared like the city, same anger, same beauty. I closed my eyes and whispered to the wind, we made it out, bro. in our own way. The waves took the words and carried them somewhere I couldn't see. I turned away from the water, started walking toward the lights. The streets never sleep. But maybe, just maybe, I finally could. I've been out the game for almost 2 years now. Every morning, I still wake up before the sun, like I'm waiting for a knock at the door that never comes. Old habits don't die, they just fade, like the sound of gunfire in the distance. The scars still itch when it rains. The left shoulder, where the bullet went clean through. The ribs that never healed right. But the pain don't bother me no more. It's the silence that does. Compton used to talk to me. Every car horn, every shout, every siren was part of the song. Now all I hear is the ocean and my own breath. Sometimes I miss it. Not the violence, not the blood, but the noise. The feeling that you mattered, even if it was for the wrong reasons. Now, it's just me. A ghost, like my name always said I'd be. I rent a small apartment in Long Beach, a few blocks from the water. It ain't much, just a couch, a bed, a flickering lamp, but it's peace. I fix cars for cash, keep to myself, pay the rent on time. Nobody here knows who I used to be. Nobody asks. Some nights, I sit on the balcony, smoking, watching the streetlights flicker, and I think about all the faces I lost. Ramon, my uncle, Trey. The world kept moving. New kids took over the corners we died for. They don't even know our names. That's the thing about the streets. They don't remember you, only the mess you left behind. A few months ago, I got a letter. No return address. Inside was a photo, an old one from back in the day. Me, Trey, and Peanut, posted up in front of Fat Daddy's liquor. We couldn't have been more than 16. Smiling. Unbreakable. On the back, one line in messy handwriting. We still out here, bro. I knew it was from Peanut. Only he wrote his RS like that. That same night, he called. Ghost, you still breathin', he said, voice half drunk, half relieved. Barely, I told him. He laughed. Better than most. We talked for an hour. He told me he was still in Compton, running small stuff, but clean, he said. Trying to keep kids from ending up like us. You'd be proud, bro, he said. Some of these little fools actually listen. I smiled. They better. Then he asked, you ever think about coming back? Helping me? I didn't answer right away. I looked out at the water, waves glowing silver under the moon. I don't know if I belong there anymore, I said. He sighed. None of us do. But somebody got to remind him what loyalty used to mean. That hit me hard. The next morning, I packed a small bag and hit the 710 north. Every mile closer to Compton felt heavier, like driving into a memory you ain't ready to face. When I hit Wilmington Avenue, everything looked smaller, older. The houses sagged, the stores boarded up. New graffiti covered the old sets. But the smell, that mix of smoke, oil, and rain, it was still the same. Home don't always look good, but it always feels familiar. Peanut met me at Tam's Burgers on Rosecrans. He looked older, grey in his beard, a limp in his step, but that same mischievous spark in his eyes. Damn, ghost, he said, pulling me into a hug. Didn't think I'd ever see you again. I laughed. Thought you were smarter than that. We sat in the corner booth, eating greasy fries, talking about everything and nothing. He told me about the neighborhood kids, how he'd started running a small program at the rec center. Basketball, music, a place to crash after school. They need something, bro, he said. Ain't nobody left teaching them how to survive without picking up a strap. I nodded. So you turned OG into mentor, huh? He grinned. Somebody gotta. Then he looked serious. I could use your help. That night, I went with him to the community gym. The place was small, old, walls covered in murals of names and faces long gone. Kids ran up and down the court, laughing, shouting, sweating. One of them stopped when he saw me. Yo, who's that? Peanut smiled. That's Ghost. Used to run these streets before y'all was even born. The kid nodded, eyes wide. For real? I smirked. For real. And I damn near died for it, too. They laughed, but I could see curiosity in their faces, that hunger for something real. That night, I told them stories. Not the glorified kind, the truth. The fear, the loss, the way every victory felt hollow when your friends kept disappearing. One kid, Deshaun, skinny, maybe 15, asked, "You ever regret it?" I said, "Every day. But regret don't change the past. It just reminds you not to repeat it." He nodded like he understood. Maybe he did. Weeks turned into months. I started coming to the gym every day. Showing the kids how to work on cars, how to handle themselves, how to stay alive without losing their soul. I ain't no preacher, but I learned the hard way that sometimes the streets listen better to the broken ones. Word spread. Soon, more kids came. Even some old heads stopped by, men I thought were long gone, now trying to help clean up what we left behind. It wasn't redemption, but it was something close. One night, after the kids left, I sat on the bleachers, lights dim. Peanut walked over to send me a beer. "You ever think Trey'd believe this?" he asked. I shook my head. He'd probably clown us for getting soft. He laughed. Yeah, he would. Silence hung between us for a while. Then Peanut said, "You ever really forgive him?" I thought about it. The answer had changed 100 times over the years. Finally, I said, "Yeah, I think I did. He was just a mirror, bro, showing me what I was too scared to see in myself." Peanut nodded. We all got mirrors. Some just crack sooner. That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked the block where we used to post up, the corner of 143rd and Wilmington. The streetlights still flickered. Same sound of dogs barking, cars rolling slow, somebody laughing too loud. I stopped under that light, looked up, and for a second, I swear I saw him, Trey, standing there, hands in his pockets, smiling that crooked smile. "You finally get it, huh?" he said in my head. "Yeah," I whispered. "I finally do." Then he was gone, like smoke in the wind. A few weeks later, one of the kids, Deshaun, got into trouble. Pulled over with a gun in his backpack. Said he was just holding it for somebody. I went to the station, talked to the officer. Old friend of my uncle's, still remembered my name, still remembered my mess. He sighed. "You vouching for this kid?" "Yeah," I said. "He's got potential. Don't let him throw it away." He looked at me long and hard. "You know how many men said that same thing about you?" "Yeah," I said softly. "And they were right." He released Deshaun with a warning. When the kid came out, he looked ashamed. "I'm sorry, Ghost," he said. I put my hand on his shoulder. "Don't be sorry. Be smarter. You got one shot to make it out. Don't waste it." He nodded, tears glistening in his eyes. That night, I realized something. Maybe redemption ain't about fixing your past. It's about protecting someone else's future. Time kept moving. Seasons changed. The gym grew louder, brighter. Kids from rival blocks played ball together, laughing instead of shoot-in. Sometimes I'd catch myself smiling. I didn't even recognize the man I'd become. Then came the night Peanut didn't show up. I called him. No answer. Checked the gym. Empty. Hours passed. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. A voice said, "You Ghost." "Who's asking?" "Hospital on Alameda. Your boy got hit." My chest went cold. When I got there, the nurse pointed me to room 214. Peanut lay in the bed, tubes everywhere, chest bandaged. He looked up, barely smiling. "Guess karma finally caught up, huh?" I sat beside him, grabbed in his hand. "Who did this?" He coughed, blood on his lip. "Some kid, from the east side. Said I owed him. I ain't even know him." I shook my head. "We try to fix this place, and it keeps breaking us." He smiled weakly. "Ain't about fixing it, Ghost. It's about leaving something better behind." Tears stung my eyes. "Don't talk like that, bro. You still got time." He chuckled, voice soft. "Time ran out years ago, remember?" He looked out the window, then back at me. "Promise me you'll keep the gym going. Don't let it die with me." I squeezed his hand. "I promise." He smiled one last time. "That's my brother." And then he was gone. They buried him a week later. Small funeral. Just family, a few kids from the gym, me. As they lowered him into the ground, I thought about all the promises we made, and all the ones we finally kept. When everyone left, I stayed. Pulled out that old photo again. Me, Trey, Peanut. I set it on the grave, whispered, "We made it, bro." In our own way. The wind carried the words, soft and steady. Months later, the gym was bigger than ever. We painted Peanut's name on the wall, bright red letters, "Loyalty lives here." Every time a kid walked in, they saw it. Every time I walked out, I felt it. The city still had its darkness. Always would. But maybe, just maybe, we'd carved out one small corner of light. One night, after locking up, I walked alone down Wilmington. Sky dark, street quiet. I passed the same alley where Trey used to tag his name. The wall was painted over, but under the layers you could still see the faint outline. Trey and Ghost, forever. I touched the wall, smiled. "Yeah," I said. "Forever." I don't know if I'll ever leave again. Maybe Compton's where I'm supposed to stay. Not to fight, not to hustle, but to guard what's left of the good. Every morning now, I walk past the park. Kids playing, laughing, living. One of them yelled at me the other day, "Yo, OG Ghost, you ever been scared?" I smiled. Every damn day. He laughed, thinking I was joking. But I wasn't. Courage ain't about never feeling fear. It's about waking up anyway. Sometimes, when the sun sets and the sky turns that deep Compton orange, I close my eyes and listen, not to the sirens, but to the silence between them. That's where the ghosts live. That's where the lessons hide. Loyalty don't bleed forever, but the love behind it, that's eternal.